Hello everyone, my name is Tara, and today I will be teaching you how I built a wax tablet. First, let's go over the required tools and materials needed to build this object. The tools and materials I used were a hammer, a plane tool, a knife to cut out the inner edges of the border, some beeswax, a saw to cut through the wood, a chisel, some scrap leather to tie the tablets together, a small metal pot where the wax would boil, a cooking pot to boil the water in which the metal pot will sit, and of course, a piece of wood large enough for two sides of a tablet. Some type of heat source will also be needed. I used my outside stove in case of wax spills. The first step is to outline the dimensions of the wooden tablet. I chose to make mine 8 by 5 inches. However, you can choose any dimensions as wax tablets have been excavated in a variety of sizes. Once the dimensions are outlined, the board must be divided into 2 pieces for each tablet side. I decided to make 3, just in case some problems arise in the building process. Here I marked out the border of the tablet. This is because I will have to chisel into the wood so that my wax will have a pit to rest in. The next step was to carve out the border of the tablet. This made chiseling the wood easier and less prone to cracking the border. This was a bit difficult to do, so I also used a chisel and hammered into the markings. After this was done, I began chiseling into the wood. This process took a long time and was difficult work, but was important because I did not want my wax dripping out of the pit. It is crucial to first chisel out the corners of the wax tablet. That way, if the wooden border cracked, I could have immediately made another tablet without wasting time. And here is my finished product. Once this was done, I checked with a ruler to see if the pit was leveled out. This made the pouring and laying of wax much easier. After this was done, I cut the wax tablets with my saw. Here is the finished tablet. I also carved 2 holes for the leather string attachments. The next step was to pour water into a cooking pot and bring it up to boiling temperature. Then I placed another pot into the water and began cutting small pieces of beeswax into it. I also added 2 pieces of black crayon, which are also made of wax and have color pigment. Darker colors were favored so that the text carved on the wax could be more legible. After the wax melted, it was time for the most difficult step of the demonstration, which was the pouring process. Since my first attempt was poured too slowly, the wax was unable to harden into an even surface. As you can see, by the time I poured the sufficient amount of wax to fill the pit, it hardened and was unable to spread evenly. Fortunately, the wax could be scraped off using a chisel. The second pour was much easier as I also heated up the tablet over the stove so that the wax could stay warmer for a longer period. Now that the tablets were finished, it was time to tie them together. I cut a piece of leather string of about 4 inches. To tie them together, I simply turned them face down and looped the string through both holes. When tying, I made sure to leave about ½ centimeter of space between the tablets so that closing them would be more flexible. And here is what the finished product looked like. Now it was time to test it out. In ancient times, the wax surface was written on with a stylus, which was a straight-edged, spatula-like implement made of either metal or bone. One side would be used for writing and the other for erasing or leveling the wax. As I had no equipment for metalwork, I decided to use this scrap piece of wood as my stylus. Roman wax tablets are rarely found in excavation. The examples which have survived have left writings with them. They show us that wax tablets were used for a variety of purposes, including students writing lectures or performing arithmetic, as well as average day Romans recording business accounts. I decided to write out a Latin phrase by the Roman Stoic philosopher Lucius Annaeus Seneca, more simply known as Seneca. The phrase which I chose has been very fitting for my experience making this project. The sentence reads, "Homines dum docent discunt," which translates to, "Men learn while they teach." While the ultimate goal of this video was to provide a demonstration of a wax tablet, I also learned an enormous amount while making and filming it. Here is the final writing. To my surprise, it turned out to be very legible. I thought that I would have a hard time reading the indents on the dark wax surface, but as the light flashes onto it, it makes the lettering easy to read. The writing also required as much pressure to my hand as a pencil on a piece of paper would. I also wanted to test out the erasing process. In northern climates, particularly in Roman-controlled Britain, some Romans seem to have preferred writing with ink on thin wood planks rather than using wax tablets. This was because the wax was too cold to be rubbed out, unlike in the warm Mediterranean climate. The process took me around 5 minutes, and halfway through, I put the wax in front of a light to warm it up. As you can see, the stylus did a great job of erasing out the writing. Ultimately, I was very astonished by how easy the wax tablet is to use. In some ways, it had many advantages over paper, such as being more durable and reusable. And that's it for my demonstration. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I wish you all a great day.